For the next few days, you can get 50% off a subscription to The Athletic. See the link in the description.
Well, hello there, and welcome to Why Should I Care About This with Tifo Football. Yes, indeed, welcome. I'm Joe Devine, and I'm joined now by my friend and tactical analyst, Alex Stewart. Hi, Alex.
Hey, Joe.
How are you?
Yeah.
Now, in this series, Alex is given 10 minutes to explain to me why I should care about something that I probably don't care about. And today, what have you chosen?
Brentford.
Brentford, okay. I kind of care about Brentford.
Okay.
A little bit care, because I've heard I should. So maybe this is going to be an easy one.
Okay.
But you've got 10 minutes to convince me that
Right.
I already should care. And your time begins now.
Okay, Brentford is
Now.
first attested.
Now.
Okay, Brentford is first attested to as a place in the Anglo-Saxon ledgers 705. Right, it's at the confluence of the River Thames and the River Brent. No?
You only
Sion
have
Abbey
10
was
minutes. You
relocated
only
there.
have 10 minutes.
Okay,
Downton
sure.
Abbey.
No, Sion Abbey.
Okay,
it's
move
a
on.
Bridgentine
Sure.
monastic
Yeah,
house.
okay.
Right.
Football.
Brentford is a club on the up, right? So this part of London has seen quite a lot of regeneration, and Brentford is part of that. So they were established in 1889. They moved
Tell people where they are, for people who don't know where
to
Brentford
southwest
is.
London,
Sure.
basically.
I mean, kind of a bit out.
Kind of. Well,
On
sort
the
of.
outskirts.
When I lived in Richmond, I used to get the number 65 bus to go and watch Brentford.
There you
and
go.
It wasn't too far.
Okay, sure.
So it's that sort of neck of
Add
the
another
woods.
London club to the Premier League. I'm just wasting your time. You go
Right,
on.
okay. So Matthew Benham, who is, he made a lot of money in gambling. He's the owner of the club. He also owns Midtjylland, and he's put a reasonable amount into the club, but they've also used data and stats and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're a growing force in football.
That's what
and
they're known for.
That's what they're known for,
Yeah.
yes. So that's point two, is Moneyball. Because Benham was at the forefront of using expected goals as a gambling tool, he then transferred that across into recruitment. So this is how Brentford are able to take Neil Maupay, Ollie Watkins and Said Benrahma, buy them for less than 10 million in total and sell them for 77 million.
That's very impressive.
That's very good.
I
isn't
care
it?
about that.
Right. So this is their general kind of model. There's actually a really good article in The Athletic about Lee Dyke, who is their head of player recruitment,
Right.
who interestingly shares the same role at Midtjylland.
Yeah.
And the clubs have a relationship where they maybe, a player develops at Midtjylland, they go to Brentford. But this is a club that is very much a kind of project club. So everything is planned, everything is thought out intelligently. The squad is built to, ensure that different players work well together. If they buy in a crop of young players for development, they'll also recruit people like Pontus Jansson from Leeds,
Sure.
who've got a lot of experience. They're a very smart bunch of people.
Yeah.
And when data started coming into football, they were early adopters of this. People like Ted Knutson, who now runs StatsBomb,
Yes.
was there for a while. The guy who did Italy's set pieces during Euro 2020, he worked at Brentford in those early days with Mark Warburton as the coach.
Because it has been going on for some time, and
Yeah.
I think people have been expecting their rise for a while. It almost feels like it's taken longer than it might have done, but maybe that's just down to the model of selling players.
I think it's partly down to that. It's also partly down to the fact that Thomas Frank, who is the current head coach, has now been there for about 150 games.
Yeah.
He's really injected a particular kind of tactical style of play,
Right.
which is effective and exciting, and perhaps that's a good opportunity to talk a little bit about that.
Point three. Well, I'll let you know you've got 6 minutes and 40 seconds left.
Okay, point three. Great football. That's what I've written on my notes. So, generally speaking, it's a 4-3-3. Now, we don't know exactly how they're going to line up in terms of the players. This is a
Oh, sure. You mean the team selection?
right. This is a relatively good kind of guess, but they have got Onyeka, who's come in from Midtjylland. He can occupy any of these midfield positions here.
Yeah.
Christoph Ayer, who they've recently bought from Celtic.
He's going to play, right?
Possibly.
Maybe not.
Ethan Pinnock's an interesting one. He's another of these guys picked up from League One.
Right.
Excelled there, made the step up, no issues.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's put Ayer in. Just
I
to
think
keep you
Ayer's
happy.
in.
They do need to recruit a right back, though. That
Okay.
is worth noting.
Sure.
So what do? Well, they've got this incredibly devastating forward line. So what they like to try and do is they'll have a player that drops in a little bit here, these centre-backs split wide, these full-backs will push up a bit. They have rotations here, so the full-backs might end up in the centre. Everything is done, very modern, everything is done with the idea of basically overloading these sort of central areas so that the opposition gets sucked into this middle bit here, because what they want to really do is isolate these two guys, Canos and Buemo, who was picked up from Troy. Apparently Southampton were going to buy him, then they didn't. Brentford swooped in and picked him up for peanuts.
Sure, same colours.
Yes, and they want to create one-on-ones here and isolate defenders and then attack into these sorts of areas, either to score or to create opportunities. So between them, I think Buemo got 8 goals and 10 assists last season. Canos was maybe 6 and 9. And then they've got this guy, Ivan Toney, up front. Now, Ivan Toney is an exceptional player.
Really?
He was the League One Player of the Year, scored 45 goals for Peterborough a couple of seasons back. Brentford picked him up.
In how many seasons?
So he was there for, I think, a season and a half.
And he scored 45 goals?
Yeah, he came through the youth system at Northampton and actually scored 2 of the goals against Oxford that stopped them from being relegated, which is nice for him as a local lad.
Lovely.
Did really, really well at Peterborough. When Brentford sold Watkins, Toney was the guy that they brought in to replace him.
Right.
He scored 33 goals in the Championship last season, including the playoffs.
In the Championship?
Yes.
Just in that
which is a
competition?
record as a Championship goal scorer.
I did not know this.
He's immense.
That's amazing.
Right? Really, really good in the air.
Is he going to step up to
Good
the level?
hold-up play. So he was at Newcastle very briefly. I think he made like 2 or 3 appearances for them, but that was a long time ago. And he has matured as a player. He's developed. He's knuckled down. He works harder.
How old is he?
23, 24, something like that.
Still young.
Still young.
Okay. I shouldn't have asked because Brentford wouldn't have bought him if he was older. Is that right?
Well, it depends. Like Pontus Jansson's older. You know, they will buy players to create a good blend of experience and youth in the squad.
Okay.
But he's the danger man. So what you're going to do is see a lot of thrust coming through these wide areas. So once these central overloads have been created, the ball goes out here to the wide areas, they pour forwards. Brentford also very vertical, by which we mean they get the ball forwards quickly. So it's everything you would expect from a modern, aggressive, high-pressing, vertical 4-3-3. It's very exciting.
I like it. Let me ask you this question, right? Because Brentford, we know that their backroom staff, the way that the club is run, is very data-led. It's very modern and professional. Is that what I should expect to see from the football on the pitch too?
Yeah, I think so. So there's a really good unity between the 2 facets, you know, how they play and how they recruit. It's all tied up really neatly by people like Rasmus Ankerson and Phil Giles. And
What's the downside?
Well, I don't think there is a downside. So
There's always a downside.
0.5.
Is 0.5 the downside?
0.5. How long have I got left?
You've got 1 minute and 57 seconds left.
0.5. They're going to stay up.
Okay.
Yeah, and I hope I haven't Tifo cursed them.
Maybe this is the downside.
So, possibly. Top scorers in the Championship 2 seasons in a row.
Well, I'm not surprised with Ivan Toney.
Right.
Who's 25, by the way. You're wrong.
I know, and
Yeah.
also Canos got more goals and assists than I said.
Sure.
Mea culpa.
You're wrong.
They outscored Norwich. They even underperformed their expected goals, so they could have scored more. Crucially, last season as well, they also had the lowest expected goals against of any team, according to Opta's stats.
Okay.
A strong defence is more important, arguably, coming up than scoring lots of goals.
Yeah.
And they've strengthened there with Christopher Ayer. Raya's a really, really good goalkeeper. And like you said, this kind of, you know, club that is moving forwards intelligently off the pitch and on it. They haven't yet played in front of a full capacity at their new ground, the Brentford Community Stadium, so that will be a big lift as well.
Sure, for the whole community.
I think Brentford are very, very well situated. There'll be a little bit of Leeds United about them, I think, in the way that they play that style of football. So there will be instances where they get turned over, leaving, defenders exposed at the back and teams coming through them.
All the more exciting.
But it'll be fun. They'll score lots of goals, and I think they've got enough to stay up. They open against Arsenal on Friday the 13th.
I have to say, because we've got 25 seconds left.
Please, go for it.
It's exciting when now I feel like the teams that are coming up from the Championship are exciting teams.
Yeah.
And hopefully replacing teams that aren't exciting.
Yes, let's not say who those teams might be. But
12
yes.
seconds left.
I'm excited about Brentford, and I don't really get excited about anything.
With 7 seconds to spare, fine. Okay, I'll stop it there. I'll add that 7 seconds in. I'll be honest, you had me when you told me that Ivan Toney scored 33 Championship goals last season. That's crazy. So I'm very much now excited about Brentford. Guess what? I care.
Fantastic.
Job well done, pal.
That's all I wanted.
For the next few days, you can get 50% off a subscription to The Athletic. See the link in the description.